Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 137 of Classic Elite. My name is Scott, and I've got Dustin with me tonight. What's going on, man?
Our show notes fit on a single page.
I know. We'll be lucky to make it past 20 minutes tonight.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
This is the meat of the show right here.
this is it, the intro. That's what it's all about. So a couple of quick things to go over. One is, unfortunately, Josh, I don't know, he's being responsible and a good dad and all that, so he's not going to be with us tonight again. But he'll be back soon, so no worries there. And we announced last week that we might be having Biff McSkylark join us, a longtime fan of the show. And unfortunately, he's working tonight, so it's just going to be Dustin and I again. So if the last couple of episodes have not been your thing, unfortunately, you're going to have to wait even longer for a proper show. Because, Dustin, I don't know if I told you, but next week I can't record. I'm going to Rhode Island.
All right. Wow. Why?
I'm in a wedding.
The old wedding.
The old wedding. I know. I was, I'm not going to lie, I was hoping that this wedding would take place at Notre Dame, which is a drivable distance.
Mm-hmm.
And Rhode Island, where my buddy's soon-to-be wife is from, is a fly thing for me. I could drive there, but it's a wedding, so that Sunday I'm certainly not going to want to be doing any driving on the way home.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's where they met, was at Notre Dame. And, like, her dad's a Notre Dame alum, so that's why I was hoping that maybe there's a chance for a Notre Dame wedding.
The best part is the church can't be too far away from the airport.
That's the thing, is it's like 25 minutes to get anywhere in the state. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, it should be cool. I've never really been to the East Coast like that. I guess I've been to, like, Philadelphia a little bit, so I've flown into Delaware and things like that, but I've never actually went. That was for work. So this is the first time that I'm, like, on the coast and whatnot. It should be cool. Have you ever been out that way?
I think I had a layover in maybe in Philadelphia when I flew to Iraq the first time.
Okay, but that doesn't really count.
Not at all. No, because it was like I woke up and we were landed, and they're like, "We're in Philadelphia. If you want to get off and smoke, do it now." And I didn't smoke, so I just went back to sleep. And then when I woke up, we were in the air again.
I'm the same way with Los Angeles. Like, technically, I've been to LA because I've been to LAX.
Mm-hmm.
But that was because it was a flight over to Australia, and that was where a connecting flight was. So that was a pretty cool time being in Australia. So yeah, this is Classic Elite. We're a video game podcast, and we weren't joking when we said it would be a 20-minute show because there's not a ton of news to cover. We don't have Josh with us, who it's really bugging me that he's not here tonight because he finished Bloodborne, and I really want to hear his thoughts on Bloodborne.
Huh. I think that's the first Souls game he's finished.
Oh, really?
I think, because I know if I remember correctly, he didn't finish Dark Souls.
Okay. He wrote an article on our site about Dark Souls a little while ago.
Oh, yeah, he did.
But yeah, so he hasn't finished those, you don't think?
I don't think so.
Gotcha.
I may be completely wrong, though.
So yeah, well, I guess let's kind of get into news, the little bit that's there, and then we'll talk about what we've been playing. And we had some YouTube comments on our last video, so we'll get to those. And we had a fan write in, so we'll get to that as well. So Dustin, since it is another week of not a lot of news, I want to complain about something for a second.
All right.
So, you know, like 3 weeks ago, it was WrestleMania everywhere.
Yep.
It's that way with Star Wars right now.
Yeah. I've been noticing that on Twitter.
And I really want to stay dark, and so I haven't watched the new trailer yet. But I stopped listening to the Cartoon Retrocast because half of the after show was them talking about Star Wars. There's parts of, I want to say, the Bombcast I skipped over. One of my favorite podcasts I listen to called Current Geek, where they talk about tech stuff. Spent half of an episode talking about the trailer. So the way that I listen to MP3s is through, or MP3s, the way I listen to podcasts is through my phone. And I have this function that skips ahead 30 seconds. And so I'll hear a little bit about Star Wars, and I'll keep pressing 30 seconds forward a couple of times until I get to something that's not Star Wars related. I don't know. I'm getting burnt out on avoiding it, so I think I might just say screw it, give up, and watch the trailer and just listen to people speculate about it and whatnot. I just really wanted to go in cold turkey, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. I haven't seen it yet either.
I don't know. Are you going to break down and just get it over with and just give up too, or do you think you're going to try to stay dark?
So far I've been able to avoid any kind of like long conversations about it. What bombcast was it? Was the most recent one?
I want to say that, yeah, they're, and I could be wrong. I listened to a lot of podcasts this last week, so maybe they didn't.
I'll probably try and skip that, but I don't know. I'm not like super crazy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of cool trailers out, though. The after show from the Cartoon Retro Cast was pretty cool. They just talked about trailers that came out. The Batman Superman trailer I liked. A lot of people didn't like it, but I thought it looked pretty neat.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool. And the Fantastic Four one I thought looked pretty cool. And did you hear Bebop and Rocksteady are confirmed for Ninja Turtles 2?
Oh, that's awesome.
That's kind of cool, right?
Yeah, dude. I've been waiting for that since the early 90s.
Since the first movie.
Yeah.
So I was watching this guy on YouTube, Black Nerd Comedy. And have you ever watched him before?
A little bit, yeah.
He just does all this awesome 90s and 80s nostalgia stuff. Well, anyways, he was talking about it, and he explained that the rights for the Ninja Turtles were really scattered in the 90s. So, like, some people had rights to the comics, some people had rights to the cartoons, and that created some complexity with the characters that you could use for the movie. And that's why Bebop and Rocksteady weren't in the original movies, because they were property of the cartoon show, and the movie wasn't, from a rights perspective, affiliated with that.
I wonder if they would have looked good anyway, using practical suits.
It would have looked, at the age we were, it would have been fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm going to go with that. Anything else that... anything new with you? Have you done anything outside of gaming that's worth talking about?
Been watching a lot of horror movies.
Oh, nice. Like what?
I've been on Netflix and I watched, let's see, The Babadook.
Not heard of it.
Which just hit Netflix Instant. Resolution.
Okay.
Which I heard about on Killer POV, which is a horror movie podcast.
It sounds like a porn site or a porn podcast.
Yeah. Or a podcast about personally owned vehicles.
Okay.
One or the other. Like involuntary manslaughter. Or never mind. I watched the rest of Daredevil.
Oh, you finished it?
Yeah, I finished that up.
I'm still on episode 1. Do I need to finish it? Okay.
Yeah. I enjoyed it profusely. And I watched like the first 20 minutes of Reanimator, which is an old 80s take on H.P. Lovecraft, starring
cool.
Jeffrey Combs.
That actually sounds familiar. I may have come across that title. You said it's an older movie from the 80s?
Yeah, it came out in 85.
So that sounds like something that I would have seen on the shelf at the video rental store when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like with Hellraiser, with like Pinhead and all that, and all the Halloween movies and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, hey, we've got our first during podcast chat.
Oh, cool.
From Biff McSkylark.
Oh, telling me so. Hey, Biff, what's up, dude? Sorry you couldn't join us tonight.
He says that Battlefront is everywhere, Star Wars Battlefront, and he's had nonstop customers coming in buying all PS2 and Xbox copies of Battlefront 2.
Really? Interesting.
Because I guess not only did the Star Wars trailer drop, but the Star Wars Battlefront trailer.
Yeah. What was that called? The Star Wars Celebration or something like that? out west. It was maybe in LA or something like that. And they announced the new trailer and did a whole bunch of cool stuff. You know what I'm talking about? No idea? All right. We'll move on since you and I have stayed dark with Star Wars, so we don't really know what we're talking about. So in the news, I've noticed that Mortal Kombat X is getting a ton of attention. Have you noticed this as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of made me want to play it.
Me too. Of course, have you heard anything about fatalities being behind a paywall?
Yeah, Jeff Gerstmann was saying something about like the easy fatalities and the brutalities.
Something like that. That seems odd, right?
Yeah, that's really weird.
I don't know. That kind of rubs me the wrong way a bit, but the game looks pretty fun.
Yeah.
I'm hoping my buddy John picks it up.
I enjoyed 9 really a lot, and I played that on Vita.
What was the other game? Was it Injustice that was built on 9's engine? Okay. Yeah, I like that game.
I need to play that. I forgot I got it for free.
Yeah, you have it. Speaking of free games, have you played any Bastion yet?
No.
Have you played any Heroes of the Storm yet?
Nope.
No.
No, I've been super busy though.
Oh, sure. Just because you work now and graduating soon, you should still make time for free video games. But yeah, that grabbed my attention. A lot of people seem to be liking Mortal Kombat X, but it is a bummer to hear that some functionality that used to just be cheat codes inherently in the game are now kind of behind a paywall. It's a little odd. And here's something that I'm really torn on, Dustin. So the other night I open up Steam and I see Trine 3 available on sale for $18. And I was like, oh my god, we just talked about that a month or two ago. I'm going for it. I'm buying it. And then I noticed it said early access to it. I'm a little bummed that Trine 3 is available for early access.
How does that work? Is it like part of the game is available?
Yes. But
Okay.
what's weird is you don't really know how much of the game's available until you get in there after you've bought it.
Yeah.
Bought it. Not bought it. So what I'm torn at is the trailer looked amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first 2 games are a lot of fun, so I'm optimistic that I'll like this game. But if I'm paying the full price for Trine, which is a game, I'm sorry, it usually sells for like $1 or $2 most places. You know?
Yeah.
So it feels like if I wait long enough for Trine 3, it'll be $1 or $2. So if I'm willing to pay $18 for Trine 3, it better be finished. So I don't know. And they've had 2 other successful games. Early access, it seems like they're above early access. I don't know if that's unfair for me since they're still an indie studio, but you see what I mean?
Yeah. I would just wait. And then get it on like a summer Steam sale where you can probably get it for like 3 copies for $3 and then give 2 of them to whoever you want to play multiplayer with.
Yep. Yeah, they even had a sale on 3-packs. So you could give them out to your friends, or 4-packs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
For like 40-some bucks. And again, that's early access. So I don't know. I was a little bummed to see that. Maybe because they switched from the 2D engine to this new 3D engine.
Mm-hmm.
They've had to spend a lot more money than what they maybe were anticipating. So early access kind of makes sense for them to try to get some more cash in before the game actually comes out.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I got burnt a little bit by Audio Surf too, thinking that the game was out and it was early access. It's still in early access, and I must have bought that a year ago. And they make improvements here and there, but I don't know. It's still not that. It's not that great. Have you ever bought any early access games?
Mm-hmm.
It's so tempting. I always just want stuff now.
Yeah. I don't know. I have so many problems sometimes with PC games working correctly anyway,
Yeah, that's a good point.
like when they're finished. So. Excuse me.
Oh, dude, I forgot to tell you. Speaking of spending money I probably shouldn't, like on Trine 3. So I look at Craigslist real often in the video game section for arcade cabinets, and golden tees pop up. And well, about a month ago, a really nice 99 NFL Blitz showed up for a couple $100. I thought, all right, that looks pretty cool. But I never played a lot of Blitz, and I want a real classic machine, specifically like a Galaga, one of the Nintendo cabinets, or a Pac-Man. Miss Pac-Man would be fine. Well, about a month ago, I saw the Pac-Man show up on Craigslist, and it was $900. It's working. It looks like there is no burn-in with the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks fine. The control panel overlay really needs redone. You just pretty much need to put a new one on there unless you feel like restoring it somehow. But I thought, nah, $900 is way too much, and I'll pass. Well, it just popped up the other day for $800. So no one's reaching out to this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seriously considering throwing a $500 bid at him and saying, "Hey, if you ever get serious and want to sell for $500, give me a call." But I just got that damn golf membership.
Cancel it.
I can't. You can't refund a golf membership. They don't let you do that.
Point a gun at him.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Mr. Hollow Threats.
That's me.
So I don't know, man. But it's like one of my dreams to have a really cool classic arcade cabinet in my living room. Because I think it would look cool in here to have.
Yeah.
So it'd be like buying a piece of furniture, not buying Pac-Man for $500 because we can play Pac-Man whenever we want. But even on Google Maps, did you see that? Google Maps, you can play Pac-Man.
Huh, I did not.
Yeah, you should check that out. It's really cool. So you can like play Pac-Man on your street and stuff. But yeah, so I don't know. Is there an arcade cabinet that you'd really like to have?
Let's see. There's Haunted Castle, which is basically the arcade version of Castlevania,
Shocker.
but it's like ridiculously difficult and probably wouldn't be fun to play, so it'd have to be really cheap.
Okay.
What else? Like a TMNT, or X-Men. Like any of the good like co-op.
Okay. The Sunset
Arcade.
Riders.
Yeah.
I like
Basically
that one a
anything
lot.
Konami made.
Konami made a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know, like for me, Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, Galaga. I'd take a Popeye, even though I don't really know that game or like that game. I'd love the look of that cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly like the Donkey Kong cabinet, but it's blue. Looks really cool. I think it's blue. There's definitely blue Nintendo ones out there that look sweet.
Yeah, like a Play Choice 10 would be cool.
Play Choice 10 would be awesome to have.
I would totally love to have one of those. Biff McScarlark asked if we were going to talk about Valve allowing modders to charge for Steam Workshop mods.
No, because I had no idea about that.
Yeah, me either. I wonder how much.
Okay, well let's stumble our way through this ignorantly.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, what do we think about people making mods in Steam, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then charging for those mods?
Yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and say right now I hate it. I hate the idea. I think it's stupid.
See, I like the idea.
No, it sounds all right. I'm sure it's one of those things where Valve will like take kind of a tiny chunk of it, kind of like they do with all the like the little stuff that you can buy, the cards that you can buy.
Yeah.
I would say that as long as Valve does some sort of like curation to make sure that it's like worth spending your money on, then go for it. Why not? If people are going through the trouble of designing things, then let them get that money.
That's what exactly. You couldn't have said it any better. So I don't know. Yeah, Biff, is there any other news that put it in the chat if there's something that we missed? Because the other thing that I wanted to talk about, Dustin, was GTA 5. I guess looks amazing on PC.
Yeah, I saw they did a quick look on it on Giant Bomb, but I've yet to actually click on it.
And I think it was Kotaku. I saw a comparison where they would show footage in they would do like a texture quality, and they would show it in normal, very high, and ultra, and it just looked awesome. Like it would. Like when they did the shadow quality thing, for example, they would show the sun beaming through a chain link fence, and on normal you would just see the shadow on the sidewalk of the posts from the chain link fence. But as the texture quality or the shadow quality would go up, you'd start to see the actual shadow of the chain links on the sidewalk as well.
Huh. Dude, that's awesome.
So it just felt more and more real, I guess. I mean, it still looks like a video game, but and then they showed another one where there was like mountains, and the sky all of a sudden filled up with these really beautiful looking clouds the more you were able to ramp stuff up. So it seems like GTA 5 looks unbelievable.
Huh. Man, and on PC too. That's cool.
Yeah. It seems like kind of worth the wait.
Yeah.
Looks like they did a pretty good job on the port.
It's kind of weird to hear a great GTA game on PC.
Yeah, right. I've never played much of a GTA game. I played a decent amount of 3 in my buddy's dorm room in college, freshman year, but yeah, I haven't played much of it. You've played through some of them, haven't you?
I think I've played through all of them since 3.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, I like them. I think they're pretty cool. Some of them, like one thing I didn't like about GTA 4 was the missions were designed in such a way that it was hard for you to kind of go about them any given way. And that was something that I kind of got used to in 3 and Vice City and San Andreas. And I think GTA 5 kind of got back to that, where you could kind of screw around just a little bit more and kind of try and find a way to make the missions easier.
So was 4 more linear then?
It wasn't linear. It was just they were trying to go for a more story-driven, cinematic, realistic tone.
Okay.
And because of that, some of the gameplay suffered. A lot of the missions were like, go to this place to kill a guy. You'll kill a bunch of guys trying to get to the guy you're trying to kill. He'll escape through a back door. There'll be a car chase. And then that will end in some way where you'll actually finally get to kill him.
Okay.
But there were a few ways. Like I figured a mission was going to kind of degenerate into that one mission, and I had somebody put a bomb in a car.
Okay.
And
is that part of the mission, like, or is it something like Just Cause where you made that happen on your own? The bomb in the car.
I made it happen on my own. I figured it was going to turn into that, so I went like I knew the guy was in this building, so I went behind the building down the alley, and there was a car there. So I got in the car. I was friends with this Irish dude because I've been going out drinking with him, and I was like, "Hey, dude, put a bomb in this car." He did. I drove it back. Went through the mission. A bunch of guys pop out. I kill them. The guy runs out the back, gets in the car, so I just triggered the car to explode, and mission passed.
Nice. And this just jogged my memory. So I mentioned playing GTA 3 in college, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I was in college, I met this dude. His name was Johnny Kane. and he was in the journalism school. He was also in my fraternity, and was a real big sports fan with me. He always wanted to be on ESPN. So he ended up getting a job in Tennessee, a job, and then also a job out in Kansas City, where he was doing like local sports and stuff. Well, I'm on my lunch break today, and I go to flip on the Detroit Tigers pregame show, and he's on doing the pregame show of the Tigers, and then so I recorded the postgame show, and he did that as well. And, LinkedIn, that social network for professional people or whatever, it's garbage, but...
I think that's their slogan.
Yeah, we're garbage. It's a garbage site. But anyways, so I just noticed, because we're buddies on that, and I noticed that he worked for Fox Sports Detroit, but I didn't think he'd be, like, on air hosting my favorite Tigers show now. It was amazing. So now I'm scrambling trying to find his email to be like, Johnny, dude, I saw you did awesome. He was really funny and really good. He made it technically on Letterman recently.
Sweet.
Because he interviewed Paul Rudd after a baseball game. And they showed the Paul Rudd and Johnny Kane interview a little bit on Letterman when Paul Rudd was a guest on Letterman.
That's cool.
So you got to see Johnny up there. It was really cool. So if you want to blow him up on Twitter, it's Johnny Kane, Kane, FSD for Fox Sports Detroit. Isn't that just like such a sportscaster name?
Yeah.
Johnny
also
Kane.
a Mortal Kombat character.
I almost always want to say Johnny Cage. Always. Yeah. But, he was a really cool dude. So, yeah, it was just wild. I think I was talking about a couple months ago, a girl from my communications class was just on the local news as a reporter as I got back from college.
Man.
Did I tell you that? The OU, where I went to school, our communications school is like a top 10 communications school. So they've, like Matt Lauer went there, the dude that's on the ABC's like Today Show. He was
something like that.
Tom Cruise flipped out on.
Yeah.
Called him glib. And a couple of other ESPN guys are from OU as well, which is cool. So, okay, back to video games. That's just... I had to bring up sports for Mike. So, back to video games, Dustin.
Yep.
So you've been playing some retro stuff, it looks like.
A little bit. Before we get to that, Biff McScarlark has a couple of posts up in the thing.
Oh.
Apparently, Square Enix is going to get their own conference at E3.
Really?
So they must have something other than Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah. I wonder... Yeah.
And Tomb Raider.
I wonder if they can fill out a whole... Those things are usually like an hour and a half, right?
Yeah. So see, they have Final Fantasy 15, Tomb Raider, Deus Ex: Human Revolution. No, Mankind Divided. That's all I can think of. Maybe they're going to announce some stuff, like Kingdom Hearts 3 or something.
That'd be cool.
And Sega has announced their next run of 3D Genesis classics for 3DS. And they're actually pretty good. Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Okay.
Streets of Rage 2.
Okay.
And Gunstar Heroes.
Nice.
Yeah. 3 really, really, really great games.
And that's going to be on the 3DS?
Yeah. And that's
the cartridge or a download pack?
It's going to be like the 3D classics they did. Like they did Outrun.
Oh. I know what you're talking about. And like Urban Champion and Twin B.
Urban Champion. What the crap?
I don't know. I bought it because I'm an idiot.
And apparently Star Ocean 5 is going to be announced.
Oh. People love Star Ocean. I mean, that's one of those JRPGs that, if it's the one I'm thinking of, it's a JRPG that has like 100 hours built into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too big for me.
Yeah.
But if they're going to do those as 3D classics, man, I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
What was the third one? Final Fight 2?
Streets of Rage 2.
Streets of Rage 2.
Which people argue is the best one.
It's probably the one that I'll be least likely to get. Gunstar Heroes 3D sounds amazing. And I wouldn't mind having a good Sonic game on my 3DS.
See, if they were smart, they would incorporate online multiplayer into Streets of Rage 2.
That would be awesome. I agree with you.
But they won't do that.
Why is it that they don't really have online multiplayer games that are co-op beat-em-ups? Like Scott Pilgrim didn't work real well. Remember that?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question.
Because it seems like if they can have the latency good enough for a fighting game, you would think that it would be fine for kind of a slow-paced beat-em-up.
Probably just the market isn't there, and it wouldn't be worth
Put the
time and
server
effort.
space or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. Oh, but I was thinking about something that you said the other week. You mentioned that there aren't any big-face bosses nowadays.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Rogue Legacy, all the bosses are basically big-face bosses.
I'm there.
We forgot about that one. Have you not played that? know
I
Josh
played a
has.
little bit. I haven't got to one of the bosses yet.
Okay. I love that game. So, yeah. The 3DS Classics, that would be really cool. When you said that, for some reason I had the Classic Collection in my head, like that you could get for the 360.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like the Gems Collection or whatever. So
Man, that's a great game to get.
Yes, it is. It's usually really cheap, and it comes with like 15 or maybe even 30 games. Like, it comes with a lot, I think.
A lot of games. Like the Genesis Ultimate, or the Sonic Ultimate Genesis Collection.
Yes.
Holy cow. There's a whole lot of games on that, and they're all great.
Yeah. So
You can probably get that for like $2 now.
I will, I'll be picking up some of those 3D Classics. Did he link an article, or did he just leave a comment there?
He did. Let's see here. I'll
I
throw
was
that.
going to see if you could see
chat.
some release dates for us.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Take them on a 3D ride through gaming's golden age with 3D Streets of Rage in July, 3D Gunstar Heroes in August, and 3D Sonic the Hedgehog in September.
Okay.
These games will follow the releases of 3D Fantasy Zone 2 on April 16th, so that was just a few days ago, and 3D Thunderblade May 14th.
I'm not familiar with those two games you just mentioned.
Fantasy Zone is the one where it's like a 2D shooter, but you can go either way, and it's kind of a like fantasy shoot 'em up kind of thing.
Okay.
And 3D Thunderblade is Thunderblade is like a helicopter game that plays kind of like Star Fox. You know, that kind of behind where you're shooting forward.
Yeah.
Or maybe similar to Space Harrier.
Okay.
But I own it, but I heard it's super hard. I haven't played through much of it myself.
It's probably really expensive if you own it. You seem to have a knack for getting those in your collection. Sweet, dude. Yeah, I'll be getting those. So thanks, Biff. Appreciate that, man.
Oh, and he corrected me. He says that they sell it for $20. But still, that's like a bajillion awesome old games.
Oh, that's right. Oh, where he works at, they sell for $20. That's worth $20 for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to say it came out at like 30, so it's still down from what it MSRP'd at.
Yeah.
Sweet. So, old games, Dustin.
Yeah, speaking of Sega Genesis, I played Quackshot.
Yeah, what brought that on?
I wanted to play some video games, and I think I saw some Quackshot on YouTube recently. And it was actually pretty cool because Solly had the iPad, and he was playing some of his Curious George video games that he has.
Mm-hmm.
And he was sitting in the chair beside me playing that, and I was playing Quackshot. And I got pretty far into the game, but there's a bad ending to that story. But Quackshot itself is it's a great game.
Check it out. The webcam.
All right. What in the world is Quackshot, says Biff McSkylark. It's a great 2D platformer for the Sega Genesis starring Donald Duck, where he shoots plungers at bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
It is open world. Like, you can select your level from the beginning, and you even get, like, you collect items. You get like better plungers that will stick to the wall and let you jump like higher. You get keys to open doors in different areas.
Huey, Dewey, and Louie are in it.
Yeah, you fly around the world with them. It's surprisingly well designed for the time, because you have, like, you're in this pyramid and you're working your way up, and there are these blocks that kind of float up and down, and you have to shoot the block to freeze it so you can jump on it. If you jump on it without freezing it, it'll hurt you.
Okay.
So you have to shoot the block to freeze it, and you have to do this like 2 or 3 times in succession, multiple times throughout the pyramid. And then you get to Goofy, who has your item, and you have a conversation, you get the item, and as you're leaving, all those blocks are gone. So you don't have to worry about dodging those blocks that can hurt you, making your way out.
Gotcha.
There are still some enemies that you have to deal with, but you don't have to worry about, like, trying to get past those, which would be really irritating.
So once they present a hurdle to you and you get past it, generally they reward you for getting past it?
Yeah.
Nice.
And there are situations where you'll get through a level and you'll get to the end, and they'll be like, yo, you don't have what you need to go forward here.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of, like, you haven't, like, oh, well, that sucks, I just wasted my time, I'll have to do this all over again, you actually put down a flag, and you'll go to that flag, and you can fly out of the level, and when you fly back to the level, when you get whatever that item that you need is, you land right there where that flag is at the very end of the level.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah. It's a great game. I was playing it for quite a while, and Solomon got down to do something, and my Sega Genesis controller, the cord on it was kind of raveled up, and I didn't know. So when I moved the controller, the system, like, picked up and then dropped down.
Uh-oh.
And it froze.
That
there's
sucks.
no password, no stage select. So I was like, well, that's a bummer.
How much time did you spend in it?
I played it for maybe 45 minutes.
Okay.
An hour, somewhere around there.
So did you feel like you were close to the end?
Yeah, it's not a particularly long game.
Yeah, I didn't
especially
think
if you
so.
know what you're doing.
Does it handle a little bit like the Mickey Mouse Castle of Illusions game? I always felt like it had kind of a slower, like, walk speed and all of that.
Yeah, you definitely. They love their animation in those Disney games,
Yes.
so it's definitely kind of a. You feel sluggish because they're going to show you every frame of animation, whether you want it or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does have that sluggish kind of feel to it.
Okay.
But I think most of the enemies and their projectiles are placed in a way that they're kind of aware of it, and it's not going to lead you to too many cheap deaths. But there are occasions where I did get hit by projectiles that just came out from off screen.
Gotcha.
I didn't have time to react to. Biff says he fired up Garfield Caught in the Act, which is another piece of awesome Genesis stuff.
I've not heard of that game. I've heard of Garfield, of course.
Huh.
Haven't played
I
that,
wouldn't have
though.
played that. It being licensed, I wouldn't have thought to rent that back in the day.
You know, there were, on the Genesis, a good handful of licensed games that I enjoyed that wouldn't have had me nervous about playing a Garfield game. The 3 that come to mind are Cool Spot,
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
Aladdin, and Lion King.
Mm-hmm.
And I had Tasmania. I didn't care for it that much. It was okay. I played it a decent bit because you didn't have that many games back then, but generally I kind of stayed away from that one. So I don't know. I would have played a Garfield game.
And then I played Symphony. Do you remember Symphony?
Oh yes, that game's sweet. It's like a Galaga style shooter
Yeah.
that you play your own music to.
Yeah. Was it Dumez?
Yeah, he was talking about Beat Hazard.
Beat Hazard. Yeah, I saw that. And I actually watched his video on it, which was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to play it, but I didn't want to actually go buy it because it was like $17 for everything,
Oh,
including
okay.
like the iTunes
Integration or whatever.
integration. Yeah. So I just went ahead and went back to Symphony and played that. And I was like, I'll just play this a little bit. I got homework. I ended up playing that game for 2.5 hours.
Symphony's really good.
It's so good.
You're the one that got me to buy Symphony.
It probably helped that the fact that I was like, man, I think I might play through my entire music library. And I'll start alphabetically, and like the first two artists are in my iTunes folders are Ensnare and Impegasus,
Oh, nice.
and they are just perfect for that
Yes.
that game.
Under that underscore, man.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Yeah,
I started playing some Beat Hazard after his comment. Do you know who Jason Heine is? I've been a subscriber of his for a long time.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I've seen him around, but I wasn't familiar with his music. That song that he did is awesome.
yeah, he's got a lot of music out there that's pretty neat. Some really good video game remixes, and on his channel, if you just Google Jason Heine, Heine, I think is how it's spelled. Jason Heine drum covers. He'll play like video game songs and drum along with them because he's a professional drummer.
Huh.
So yeah, he's got some pretty neat stuff. He has this really cool shooter game that he's been working on. I don't know if I don't think he's the sole developer for it, but I think it might be called Horizon, and it's a shooter. But you in the middle of the screen you have this one line. It's so hard to explain. I'll put a link in the show notes, and you can watch the trailer for it. But essentially, you're on an axis, so you can either shoot above the line or below the line.
Hmm.
And if you're below the line, you can jump down around enemies, and if you're above the line, you can jump over and above it. And it's a single screen arcade kind of shooter, and it goes along with the music that you made.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool. But yeah, I started playing some Beat Hazard and played some Zabuton, and this guy named Saber Pulse, who I'll be ending the show with this week. But you played 2 hours of Ensnare?
Yeah, yeah. It was Ensnare, Impegasus. I think I played there was some other electronica stuff that I played from my iTunes stuff, but. Yeah, for people who don't know, I don't know if we described it, but Symphony is like a shooter that makes levels based on music in your library.
Yeah.
And then as you're playing the level, it plays the music. So it's incredible.
And it's not
Looks
really
great.
dual stick.
Right.
Right? It's more... You can move up and down.
Right,
you
but you
can't,
only
like,
shoot like forward.
Yeah.
And at an angle. You can you have 4 guns and you can kind of angle them in different ways, and you have like different kinds of guns that you can equip, and then you can level up those weapons at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of reasons to like keep playing and keep coming back to it. On top of the fact that it's awesome and you can play your own music in it.
Yes.
And it even has like a story about how some sort of entity is coming into our reality through your computer, and it's doing so by like possessing the composers of your music, and you have to like shoot the demon in the it's kind of weird, but at least he kind of like contextualized the gameplay
Yeah.
within a narrative. But yeah, Symphony, it's probably pretty cheap on Steam if you want to pick it up, and it's great.
Yeah, it's like $10 or less. I think. And with Beat Hazard, it's one of those games that they give you an epilepsy warning because the lights flash so much. It's pretty nuts. So yeah, and then man, I've been playing some Rogue Legacy. I played some over at my friend John's, and we started getting further and further, and we're really leveling up. But the thing is I've put a lot of time into my version of Rogue Legacy here on my PC,
Mm-hmm.
and I got hooked on the fact that I am so close to leveling up. I've almost maxed out my weapon, which is insane. I'm on my second New Game Plus with it, and I've beaten all the bosses, but I won't go into the final boss because you can equip these different attributes. So what I do is I keep suppressing the difficulty of the enemies,
Mm-hmm.
and the trade-off is you get less rewards to drop when the enemies are suppressed.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is I stay alive so much longer because I'm so powerful that I get just tons of money anyways. So I was thinking about you when I was playing the game. I'm like, Dustin would be really proud of me right now. I'm just
Yep.
grinding through to break the game.
Oh, I love it. So it says that you're working through New Game Plus number 2.
Yes.
So you beat the game, and then did you beat the game on New Game Plus once?
Yes.
And now you're on New Game Plus number 2.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And with New Game Plus number 2, I could go to the final boss and just haven't.
That's awesome. That's
So-
a good game right there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. The second time that I beat it, so when I beat it on New Game Plus for the first time, it said that I had played it for 19 hours. So that's a long time to play a platformer, you know?
Yeah.
And I've been playing for I don't know how long since, so I probably got close to 24, 25 hours into that game.
Man.
Plus what I've played over at my buddy John's house. Rogue Legacy is amazing. And then I also have been playing Box Boy on the 3DS.
All right.
I heard it was actually during the Mortal Kombat discussion on the Bombcast. Jeff Gerstmann and Dan Reichert made a comment like, just go play Box Boy instead of this microtransaction crap. So I watched their quick look of Box Boy, and I'm like, this looks like a really sweet little fun puzzler game. It's $5. So I picked it up, and what you are is you're this little cube, right?
Mm-hmm.
And each level that you're in, they'll give you a limit on how many times you can essentially replicate yourself.
Okay.
And then all the replications that you make, you can throw. But they all, like, still stick together. So if you're in a level where there is, you're kind of walking through, and you come up to a gap in the road, you can make 3 clones of yourself, essentially,
Okay.
lay it down, and then walk over the gap.
All right.
And then you just have all these little puzzles on how to navigate through the levels. And they hide little crowns in certain spots so that you get bonus points for collecting them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're set in really tricky spots. It's a really cute, fun little game. I'm definitely happy that I picked it up. I'll get a couple hours of game time out of it, and for $5, that seems worth it to me.
I like those kinds of games.
Yeah, I heard Dan Reichert make a comment where he's like, they were talking about kind of the downfall of the Vita being that you don't want those big AAA games necessarily on your handheld. You don't want to play Uncharted. You want to play a
Right.
Box Boy. You want to play a little game that you can just whip out and play a little bit here and there and, close up your handheld and go on your way.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds cool. I don't take my 3DS with me, but it's a great thing to unwind. I was playing it last night before I went to bed, and it's kind of got a, it scratches the itch that Pushmo did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of that point A to B kind of puzzle game.
Yep, and kind of cute and easy to get into. So yeah, kind of a longer tutorial. I'm sure that the difficulty spike is going to get absurd soon.
Yeah.
But right now it's pretty easy. Because that's definitely the way that Pushmo was. Is it was easy. I quit.
What I just did there is Solomon has this animal, like farm animal puzzle thing
Hmm.
that when you cover up light sensors, the animals make noise. And as the sun's going down, it's getting darker in there. So all of a sudden I heard like this electronic horse in my living room. But it's okay. It's just a stupid puzzle thing.
I used to have a spy kit when I was a kid, and you could set up this little. It was a little box, and on the top of the box it had this little light sensor and this little scope on it.
Hmm.
So you could set it up by doors, so whenever someone would walk through the door, the alarm would go off. It was really badass.
That's cool.
It had a long range microphone. It didn't really work, but in my mind, I imagined that I was going to be able to hear like the neighbors' conversations and stuff. The only thing that was worth it, Dan, was that alarm.
You're probably better off because then, like, you would have finally got to listen to your neighbors, and it would just then been like bitching about bills or
Oh yeah,
like,
it would've been
oh, I got to
horrible.
go to work in the morning or something like
The crappy dog named Bridget. Oh, I hated that thing. It was a really mean poodle named Bridget.
that. Oh man.
One time, the dog, because it hated everybody. The UPS guy was parked. The
Mhm.
dog ran up to the truck, into the truck, and bit the guy. He was in his truck and got bit. It wasn't like so the dog hunted him down.
That's gonna be my '90s alternative tribute band. A poodle named Bridget.
A poodle named Bridget. Yeah.
Let's see here. Biff McSkylark says that Telltale is going to make Marvel games. This was just announced minutes ago.
Really?
Yeah, he says, dream up your ideal game for this.
Dream up my ideal game for Telltale to make a Marvel. Hmm. I would probably, if we were a big podcast, I think I would catch a bunch of flack for this. I'm gonna go with Superman. Oh, he's DC. I was trying to think.
You're still going to catch flack for that.
Yeah, you don't know. Well, the reason I wanted to go with him was because it's tough to do a good Superman story since he's godlike or whatever.
Mm.
So I would like the twists and turns that they would be able to do. So for Marvel, probably Thor.
Okay.
I really liked the first Thor movie, and I liked the dynamic of the fact that he and Loki had a real contentious relationship, even though Thor really loved his brother.
Hmm.
And I liked how both of them were trying to win their father's affection, but they just both went at it in a different manner.
Hmm.
And Thor went the right way and Loki the evil way or whatever. But they both tried to, appease their father or whatnot. And I thought that was a really interesting thing because it's a story about Viking gods, basically. So,
Yeah.
I thought it would be a lot more actiony and stuff, and that was a deeper story than I was expecting. So I think I would maybe like them to do something else with Thor.
I bet it would look great.
Yeah, I bet it would too. And I also don't know much about Thor's background, and I really liked that movie, so I think I would like to know a little bit more about what happens in Asgard, and there could be cool dynamics between all the Seven Kingdoms and whatnot. What would you say? I'm not much of a comic book guy, so
I guess
it's tough for me.
it'd be anything Marvel. I think X-Men would be cool, just because like if it was set in the mansion
Yeah, yeah.
or the school rather.
Mhm.
I think that'd be cool to like be able to walk around that and talk to your fellow mutants.
I guess I just picture comic books to be so actiony, and Telltale not to be actiony.
Yeah, they're kind of that's kind of a really weird matchup. But Biff says Punisher.
Oh, Punisher would be awesome.
Yeah, but I just really want him to make another Punisher movie that was as awesome as the first one with Thomas Jane.
The dude that made the recent, his name's like Ali something, the like adult Power Rangers thing that came out.
Mm-hmm.
That same dude made a Punisher movie that you would love. It's like a 10-minute short.
I think I've seen it. Did it have Thomas Jane in it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, Thomas Jane's the dude from like the '03 movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that movie. You did?
You didn't like that movie?
Mm-mm.
Why?
I went to the theater and I remember coming out of it being like, well, that was dumb. That's really all I remember about it. I'll have to rewatch it.
You should rewatch that. I think
Okay.
you may have been stoned.
I might have been. I was in college. Who knows?
Were you smoking crack that day?
I've never even seen crack cocaine, so probably not. So yeah, that's cool. So you would go. I think Punisher's a great one. X-Men would be really cool. My concern with the X-Men is it could turn into a love story, where they would focus too much on the dynamic between Cyclops and Jean Grey and Wolverine and Jean Grey.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember even in the cartoons they got into that. That was in the cartoons.
Yeah, that would be like the caveat. You'd have to avoid any of that.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, Punisher would be sweet. Okay, well, then the last thing I've been doing is playing more Hearthstone, of course. Well, some heroes, but nothing news there. But I had a discussion with my buddy about Hearthstone, Blackrock Mountain expansion.
Mm-hmm.
And I was complaining that it was overall too easy. I've gotten stuck at a couple things, but in general, it's too easy. And he's like, well, are you playing things on hard mode? I'm like, well, no, it's way too hard. So it got me thinking, like, I wish that there was a third tier of difficulty. Like, I wish that there was stupid easy so that you could just unlock the cards.
Mm-hmm.
A moderate difficulty for me, someone that would fail a couple times would ultimately be able to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could just totally forget about that heroic difficulty. Like, screw that. Have you ever had that happen where you've had a game where you've been stuck between two difficulties, one too easy and one just unfun hard? Can you think of any? I'm sure it's happened to you.
Yeah. If I think about it, I might be able to come up with something.
Okay. So, yeah, that's been it for me. So, let's get into emails and YouTube comments. So, do you want to do YouTube or email first?
We can do email.
Okay. So this is from Nate McGillicuddy. I don't know if he wants us to say his last name or not. But it's Nate, my friend Nate. He writes into the show. Or he's written in before. And he says, he says, hey everyone. The subject is instant replay. So, hey everyone. I found myself playing Skyrim again. While it's not for the marathon sessions I used to have, I still enjoy it completely. That's unusual for me because several games I own have low replay value. I find the Elder Scrolls series, also Fallout 3, to be a great play every single time. Do you have any favorites that you never tire of, even after years of use? Regards, Nate. And he also says, P.S. I miss Josh. Josh, please come back to us. I'm sure Biff's a cool cat, too, and would like to hear what he has to say about gaming. Although every time I hear the name Biff McSkylark, I instantly think of Biff Tannen from Back to the Future. I have a mental image of a guy with a crew cut calling everyone butthead constantly. So, we miss Josh too, man. Hopefully he'll be on in 2 weeks when we're back. But there's like no bad blood or anything like that. He's just been pissy.
Right.
We do have a record of firing.
If anybody's going to get fired, it's me.
I was just going to say, you of all people know we have a record of firing people on the show. But, okay, let's think about that. An old favorite that I never tire of, even after years of use. There's quite a few of them for me. My favorites all tend to be on the NES. Contra, DuckTales, Mega Man 2 are the ones that come to mind first. And then Legend of Zelda 1 and Super Mario 2 and 3. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've played those games, and I still absolutely love those video games.
Yeah. Let's see. Biff says that he's ashamed to think of how many times he's played through Final Fantasy VII. And he still goes back to Fallout New Vegas a lot. I never played New Vegas.
Not me either. I have it. It was in a Humble Bundle or something like that.
Me personally, I'm also fond
Don't
of
say
Skyrim.
Resident Evil.
I was going to say Skyrim.
Okay.
Mirror's Edge. And let's see, Castlevania, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And what else do I just get the urge to play sometimes? Symphony of the Night is a big one. Like if I go too long, I will have a dream. I'll have dreams about Symphony of the Night until I play it.
It's like it's whispering to you. Like,
yeah,
come back. What about something that you maybe have played that's newer? I'm gonna open up my Steam thing here. So either last generation or this generation. What's maybe a new contender for that? He mentioned Skyrim. You did too. But what's another one? I bet MGS5 is going to be for you.
Yeah, that's. I was just about to say Ground Zeroes. I could see myself coming back to a lot, even though I've already 100%ed it. And Biff says Diablo 2.
Oh, okay. I never got into Diablo 2 much. But a lot of people still love that game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't always remember Portal solutions, so I could see myself going back to Portal.
Yeah, I really like the first one. I think the first one made more of an impression on me than the second one did.
Which one did you play first?
The first one.
Okay. Yeah, I'm the other way. I think more people fall in line with your line of thinking there, though. Just I can't get over the co-op puzzle solving in that game. Just blew my mind.
Yeah,
just that was awesome.
Coming up with those answers was kind of a mind bender. I can't imagine having to come up with the puzzles themselves.
Right?
Holy cow! I don't like the people that design those levels. Hats off to you.
It just so smart, and it made you feel so smart when you solved one of the puzzles. That's what I loved about it. I gotta say, a Rogue Legacy or maybe an Ori. I can see myself going back through Ori again because it's about 5 or 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's like 2 big sessions. I can see myself going back to that one. I'm in a 3rd playthrough of Shovel Knight right now.
Oh yeah, are you still going through that on your 3DS?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know. There's quite a few there. And, it'll be interesting since I'm still relatively new to Blizzard and MOBAs. I could see Hearthstone sticking around for me, and I could see Heroes of the Storm sticking around for me. But Heroes of the Storm, it's going to really depend on whether or not my friends burn out on that game. Hearthstone's so accessible and it only takes 10 minutes to play. I can pop it up on my phone and play and not have a problem with it. But Heroes, I think a year from now, I'll really need my friends to be playing for me to also want to play. But who knows? Maybe I'll just be addicted and want to get to it all the time. So cool. Nate, thanks a lot for writing in, man. Appreciate it. And Josh will be back soon.
I wonder if they're going to talk about Mirror's Edge 2 at E3.
Probably.
I hope so. I'd like to see some more of that.
So, okay. Do you have the comments up?
I do.
Okay.
Let's see here. Start with Jumez. This is on last week's episode. It's Josh's fault. He says, I've no interest in any kind of Guitar Hero type game unless and only until they let me put my own music on an SD card or USB and it can generate stages from this way, as well as canned licensed songs that come with it. Once at a New Year's party, we were playing Rock Band, and I wanted to destroy it hearing the same songs over and over. No one could just make a playlist. It would be so much better if it had the option to put my own music in. Because my own music is the best. An example of this is the game Beat Hazard. Check it out. I made a YouTube video if you want to check it out. It's a twin-stick shooter like Robotron, and it procedurally generates the levels based on your music you assign to a stage. Posted an awesome stage using Jason Heine's remix of Metal Storm, and that's a really cool track.
Yeah, it is. And I watched that as well. So, yeah, check out Domestic Stuff, our Canadian friend.
Yeah. And then he says, oh yeah, he made a really good point about roguelike games.
Yes.
He said, real roguelike games also have a system where every one step you take, all the enemies also have taken one step. And if you stand still, it is like time is paused. There are some newer games claiming to be roguelike, for example, Rogue Legacy, but they do not have the one turn, one move mechanic, just like...
as far as dying and losing all your stuff.
Oh, just roguelike. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So they don't have the movement mechanic. It's just dying and randomized dungeon and stuff.
Yeah. And then also we had the Jester of Dimensions write a comment. And he says, as a kid, the original Donkey Kong Country was tough, but going back to it now, he breezes through the game. Also, it's one of the best game soundtracks. Because we'd kind of pooped on Donkey Kong Country a little bit last week.
A little bit. I think I should go back to it if he says he's having better luck with it now.
Yeah, as an adult, definitely. And then I agree. The soundtrack is unbelievable for that game.
Sticker Brush Symphony. That's the water level.
Okay. I'll know it if I heard it. So, yeah. If you would like to write into the show, go to our YouTube channel and leave a comment on our podcast. We usually get notifications, so if you leave it on any of our podcasts, we should be able to get to it and read it on the show. And then also you can write to us at classicelite@gmail.com. That's classicl337@gmail.com. Or you can go to our website and click on the Contact Us tab and send us an email that way. So we can sell your information for money.
That's right. One of my favorite comments on YouTube recently, somebody commented on my old Doom 3 BFG edition review, and all it was this one sentence. The guy said, "You bitch a lot."
Oh yeah.
Like, man, you're being awfully critical in this review of this game. You bitch a lot. I loved it. It cracked me up.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Okay, let's check in with Biff one last time. Let's see.
Yeah.
He says he could always go back to Binding of Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Shadow of Mordor. Bloodborne. And then he says that we'll probably see something about Mirror's Edge 2 in EA's conference. He played Beat Hazard on his Ouya.
Oh.
Way to own a Ouya like a boss, man.
Yeah.
Binding of Isaac gets harder because difficulty increases after so many unlocks. And next Thursday he wants to be on. He's going to make himself available come hell or high water.
Okay, well, next Thursday you will be soloing the Classic League show.
We'll just give you the
upload
information.
And stuff, yeah. No, it'll be 2 weeks until we're able to record again. So hopefully I'll have a good story from the wedding. That'll be fun. Like I said, I've never been to Rhode Island before.
Yeah.
So that should be pretty cool. It's expensive though, man. But I am excited because when I had to make the reservation for my hotel, the question from the receptionist was, do you want a full or partial view of the ocean?
Wow.
I'm like, where the hell are we staying? This is awesome. So, everyone's like, so you picked a full view, right? I'm like, hell no, that's way more expensive.
Yeah, no joke.
I'm not taking a date or anything to split the cost. So get this. So my friend Sasha, she lives in Lexington. She was in town visiting, and she was over on Friday, and I was telling her that, hey, I'm going to this wedding or whatnot, and I made a comment about not having a date for the wedding, and she's like, oh, you should have taken me, and I'm like, oh my god, that would have been perfect, then I could have split the room costs. And she looked at me like, well, then never mind then, I'm not going. She just wanted a free trip out to Rhode Island. I'm like, well, no. So, but yeah, man, I think that'll wrap up the show. This week, if you are listening to the audio version and you're not listening to the YouTube version, you'll hear an outro song. It's from, I love this guy's name, Dustin, Saber Pulse.
Ooh, that's good.
Saber Pulse. It's a song called Cart Killa.
All right.
Which sounds like it would be a rap song, but it's not. It's just kind of an electronica song.
That sounds like a badass platformer for the NES.
Doesn't it?
Like Power Blade, Shatterhand,
or he could have been
Pulse.
Or Saber Pulse, or he could have been an American Gladiator.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to get shot with a tennis ball cannon by Saber Pulse, man.
No. So cool, dude. Well, everybody, if you've enjoyed the show, please watch us on Twitch on Thursday nights, or subscribe to us on Stitcher or iTunes, or you can check out our website to get our RSS feed, and you can subscribe directly to that and get it on your phone and all that fun stuff. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next week for episode... Do you have anything else you wanted to say?
Back our Kickstarter.
Back our Kickstarter so we can open a Patreon. And that's a little inside baseball for everyone. So if... yeah,
the link's on our GoFundMe page.
So, yeah, we will thank you very much for listening, and we will see you guys next week in 2 weeks for episode 138.
Boosh!